a number of people specifically, but also many other people whose names either I don't know or I don't have time to mention, for making this meeting happen. Of course, Sri Dhirubhai Mehta, the president of KHS, Kasturba Health Society, my dear friend, Professor Ishan Garg, who put a tremendous effort into bringing us all here today. And I have to also mention Dr. Raut and Dr. Kalantri, who were extremely helpful in working out many details, and particularly Dr. Kalantri for a wonderful day that we spent yesterday seeing how rural medical education and health education actually work in the field. So, briefly, who are we? The Bellagio Global Health Education Initiative is a group of people from quite a few different countries, at least 10, and right now most of the continents, who are devoted to the idea that global health should be a standard part of the medical school curriculum and of the curriculum for healthcare personnel generally. At the moment, we've begun with the medical school curriculum and medical students. How do you define global health? That's a hard one. It's a crossing concept, a bridging concept. But I think the easiest way to understand it is that it's the idea that everyone in the world, every person in the world, is entitled to a certain minimum package of health. It includes the idea that you're giving this package of health across many cultures, both between countries and within countries. It includes the idea that health involves prevention much more than cure, and the idea that one person can never do it, only a team. Teams of doctors and nurses, larger teams, even teams between disciplines are critical to achieve global health. Achieving global health assumes that the people who are trying to do this, let's talk about the medical students, the medical residents, and the practitioners, have to know something about taking care of people who are living and breathing and getting sick and getting well in a culture that the practitioner did not grow up in. Cross-cultural medicine. The definition of culture is a little bit like the definition of global health, in that it's a difficult one to define, and it's a bridging concept. If you look it up in Wikipedia, which has a rather good summary sort of article, it will tell you that culture is the set of social norms and standards that covers a lot of territory, but there are other ways. That definition probably surprised many of you. It surprised me the first time I saw it. Another way that we think about culture is a set of knowledge and skills. Usually people think of the arts, but that actually is a culture-bound way of looking at culture. But it's another way of thinking about it. The grammarians, with I think not a little help from computer people who have worked on language, will tell you that culture is a noun, a complicated one to define, but it's also a count noun, so that you can have more than one table and more than one culture. Or you can have culture the same way that you have health, which is not a count noun. I'd like to just tell you, if we are talking about culture for another couple of minutes, a quick story about a session that we hold every year with our students that I had the opportunity to give a few hours before I got on the plane to come to India. This session is part of a day-and-a-half course when we bring all the new clinical students back together. They stop their clerkships for a day and a half, actually runs into 2 days, and they take a course in cross-cultural communication. The first